Every couple of months, I go on the internet to figure out how I can mitigate the dog hair everywhere. And I go into all these Reddit threads and all these articles and look into ways to get rid of dog hair. And all of the threads are like, you can't. It's impossible. We have people out here vacuuming twice a day, and they still are covered in dog hair, and it's just like, well, at that point, I'm not going to do anything about it because it doesn't work. But then a couple months from now, I'm going to be back in the same exact position looking for how to get rid of all this dog hair, especially in spring when they start their big shed. So I don't know what to do about it, but I'm covered in dog hair, as always. I'm in the Asics Megablast, and I'm going to go a little bit longer today. I have a jam-packed day, but today is the 200-mile review of the Megablast. I should hit 200 or around like 199-ish in this shoe today, and I'm definitely not going to stop running in this after 200 miles, so don't worry about that. This has still got a lot of life in it, but there are some signs of degradation, some cracks in the wall, as it were, and we're going to talk about that on the run, and I'm going to run on the run, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. So let's go.
Jump, jump, jump up.
There's just such a substantial quality to this foam that makes it very dependable. You're getting a very consistent, dependable ride. And it's fast and it's bouncy, and it still is at about 200 miles. It's a good day to be running in a good shoe. I don't think that I've chosen a single outfit accurately this week. It's yet again warmer than I expected it to be based on the weather forecast telling me it was 38 degrees. So I bundled, and now it's a little warm for that. Pesky weather. No, this is beautiful though. This is like A-tier weather for sure for running. I'm feeling the fatigue today. It might be perfect timing the next couple of weeks. Like, I wasn't planning on tapering next week, but maybe like a micro drop in miles and mileage, like 95 instead of 105. And then the week of the race down to 85, because I was planning on dropping to like 80 or 85 anyways for the race week by virtue of all of the travel and all of the other stuff that I have to do. We'll see, it could be even more of a drop. I just truthfully don't know. So Megablast, things that I continue to notice with it. The forefoot is narrow. We're going to talk about this in way more depth back in the studio, but forefoot is narrow, can lead to a little bit of like heel instability, or like sometimes even heel slip, but not up and down like you would think about heel slip, but like heel left to right wiggle. And I don't know, I think that might be just because the laces aren't super tight, and it's mainly on the foot that I land more aggressively forefoot, so it's probably like the foot's landing, and since there's nothing touching on the back, the shoe might respond. I don't really know, I can't explain it. Maybe the studio version of myself will do a better job, but this is the least 8 mil drop feel an 8 mil drop. No, But the 8mm drop doesn't exactly feel like 8mm in this. It feels less pronounced, maybe more like a 6, which is what I'm used to and what I generally really like. So that's high praise for their heel geometry. I do think it could be a little less bulbous. Just in general, Asics, take note. I'm not sure who the bulbous heel is for. But yeah, overall, really great, really smooth ride, not choppy. Foam is relentless. And I've been finding over time, the longer I own this shoe, I'm more and more able to run slowly in it. Like, I've learned how to, sort of like if you've ever driven a standard, I'm learning how to use the clutch in this and gently engage the clutch versus always coming out blasted. Days like today really make it worth living in places like Rochester, because you get suddenly, out of nowhere, such a stunningly beautiful, crisp, clear, blue, shining, shimmering, golden day. And it's only when contrasted with darkness that beauty could properly shine. And Rochester is often a very dark place. I've sort of just been rhythmically bopping along here, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't have a lot in my brain right now. Sometimes it's really nice on a run, especially when you intend to go slightly longer than you normally do, is just to get in the zone early and stay in it. And that's a testament to Megablast. I haven't really been super focused on the shoe. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I mean, I can't keep stressing that one enough. What do you guys all think about while you're running? Do you do the constant pace calculations, distance calculations? Do you go blank sometimes? Do you make lists of things you have to do in your head? Come up with ideas like shower thoughts? These are all things that I do intermittently, not all at the same time. There's something nice about putting a lot of miles on a shoe. It is like adds to the reliability of it. It's just familiarity over time becomes like rhythmic. So how I would compare it is if you ran the same route every day, eventually it might become monotonous, but you might be able to get locked into a rhythm a lot quicker. And for me, I don't always want that, but I also don't always want novelty. So having a shoe like this, where I could have, and I'm not saying it's boring, a shoe like the Megablast is far from it, but I'm so used to it that the monotony could be hypnotic. And that's sort of what today has been about for me. I think I might have raised a really important question without realizing it. Can you get tired of novelty? And maybe this is an individualized answer depending on who you are as a person. So far, I've never gotten tired of novelty. But maybe one day it's possible for that to happen to me. You never know until you experience it, but like constant new experiences themselves, if they're so constant, could that become a form of monotony? And then does it stop being novelty at that point? And what would be novel at that point is consistency or monotony itself. Can monotony be novel? I have no idea. And that was a steeper hill than I realized. You know, I really don't like going up the bridge I'm about to go up, but I gotta show you all something new. You've never seen this before. It's so steep. It's short, but it's steep. Speaking of novelty, right? Am I right? So, I've shown you all that bridge over there, and I've shown you the view from that bridge over there. There was once a dredging barge cleaning it out, and this plane, like this direction, is the canal, and this direction as well. And there are all these little bridges that go over the canal, and it's such a calm little waterway. And the big stuff is the Genesee. And coming down the bridge, now we're under a highway, or we're about to be. And this connects back into another area that I run in a lot, and that you all have definitely seen. But yeah, this little trail I don't come down to very much, just because it's pretty short. There's not much back here, but it does provide some pretty vistas. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I've ever been on this specific pathway. Normally I stay more central and under the bridge, so this is pretty nifty. There's about to be some sort of wooden bobber right here, a big kayak launch area, and some porta potties. That's really good to know. Did not know that they had those back here. Oh, and that's a golf course. The golf course is nice to run on, but it's not plowed in the winter, and so if there's snow on the ground, it's really not very runnable. And in the summer, people are playing golf, so I'm not trying to get whacked by balls. And so this is the view from the other bridge that I come to regularly. The water is really pretty today. And that's the bridge over there that I was just under, right by the angle of the sun to the right a little. And that's another bridge. So this is a very cool intersection of water. And you might have even heard me talk about, it's going to be hard to see on camera, but there's a boat down there. And that boat has a dog that lives on it. I'm assuming it also has a person that lives with the dog on the boat, but there's no way to know for sure because all the drapes are closed. It's interesting, somewhere around mile 9, every time I start to notice the foam in this is compressed. It might just not be the best long run shoe, which is fine. I honestly wish more people did running as a hobby. It's like, once you get competent at it, it feels so good. And it's like so native to who we are as people, as persistence hunters, as savages of the earth. This is part of our human, this is part of our personhood, our human nature, ourselves, our biology. It feels right in an inexplicable way. I think that I align more with the moral subjectivist point of view, not because I can demonstrably prove that there is no objective morality in the world, but more because if you state that there's an objective morality, like a set of ethical principles that every one person should live by, that immediately leads down the path of enforcing your views on other people. And like, if you get, you know, probably a lot of them you're going to get right. You're going to get, you know, you shouldn't murder, you shouldn't steal, all of the Bible stuff, like all of the basic biblical things, or any organized or disorganized religion. You're going to get good moral precepts, but then you're going to have some oddballs like you can't be gay, or like you can't eat pigs. And it's like, that's not actually a morally wrong thing. It's just that pigs at the time, there was not a process to clean the meat in a way that was healthy enough to eat, because it was like more likely to carry diseases. And so you get these confused functional moral precepts or functional allegorical stories of morality, but some people in the modern era continue to take that as morality in an objective sense. So like, my position against objective morals, or like the objectivist point of view on ethics and morality, is not really about whether or not it's true. It's more about it just leads down a bad path, I think. And there's that word bad, that's evaluative, that's a moral statement as well. But yeah, as far as the Megablast, I will catch up with you all back in the studio. I just ate several pounds of Chinese food, which was delicious. And so I'm in this blissful post-MSG coma. And I feel so prepared to tell you about my 200 miles in the Megablast. So it's late at night out here in Rochester, New York. I actually just returned from the gym before getting Chinese food, where I went with my buddy to run on the dreaded treadmills. And it's become something of a ritual, and it's emphasized and amplified by the fact that there are hot tubs in this gym. And so one of the best things in the world post-run, especially on a chilly pre-winter eve, is to hop in a nice hot tub, soak your sore legs, and chat with a friend. So with that all being said, the Megablast is in the studio for its 200-mile review. I've been loving this shoe. I have been critical of this shoe throughout my ownership of it, and even before my ownership of it. So I'm going to go over, first, what is it? It's what people call a super trainer. It's an 8mm drop, overstacked shoe with superfoam in it. The Megablast particularly has a more race-like upper, and the foam that's in it is Asics new Flight Foam Turbo Squared. It's a really energetic foam, and it's an aliphatic TPU. It has an outsole made of Asics grip rubber, which is their good rubber, and it's been pretty grippy. I mean, I don't have a ton of complaints there. I do have something to mention about the durability of the rubber when we get to it. But the first thing that I want to talk about today with the Megablast, and if you're familiar with this channel, you've heard me talk about it before, but the fit of the upper is not really very good. Not for me, not for a lot of people. This was actually just amplified by the fact that I got back from the gym, in which I was on a treadmill, and on the treadmill, it felt like my toes were, you know, borderline getting blackened by landing too far forward in the forefoot and just like bumping the front of the shoe. So it fits. I don't like recommending people go up or down a half size in shoes, because it's a highly personal like quest to find the correct fit in any shoe. And really, I hope you all try any shoe on you're buying before you buy it. But I wish I bought this in a 10. I'm a 9.5 in most of my shoes that I run in. And in most of my walking shoes, just 9.5 across the board, because according to multiple different machines that measure the size of feet, I am an 8.9 in my left foot and a 9.1 in my right foot. This should work in a 9.5, and most shoes do. I wish I had gone with a 10 in it. I think that a lot of the issues that I have with the fit would have actually been mitigated by doing that. But for all of you out there, do your own research, figure it out for yourself. Don't just listen to me, some guy on the internet telling you how a shoe should fit your foot, right? That's how it fit my foot. I have a pretty normal, otherwise, width-wise foot, and frankly, even a narrow foot, if anything, through the midfoot and the heel. So, yeah, I'm a pretty standard, like, poster child for 9.5, and I think you should go with a 10 if you're similar sizing to me. Other complaints about the upper, the material is just kind of scratchy and it feels a little less than premium. It's not like degrading or anything. It's just not quite what I want it to be for this shoe. And I think that, right, they wanted it to be very stripped down and light because this is a fast shoe and the foam that they're using in this is so energetic and it's so fast. But it's just not, the material is not winning any awards for the Megablast. What I do like about the upper, as we're moving from the material of it to the tongue and lacing system, I like the laces a lot. They're really good serrated laces. The tongue, see if I could sort of get you a better look at the tongue. The tongue has these like purple bumper pads up here, which seem to do a decent job, but they don't extend all the way down through this part of the tongue, and this part of the tongue is too thin. So throughout my ownership of this shoe, I've gotten lace bite intermittently. Not the worst lace bite that I've ever had. So it's really like only a little bad. And if I wear other shoes that also give me maybe slight lace bite or even just pressure on the top of my foot, it could compound into being an issue. But on its own, it's not an issue. The heel is almost a little too padded, the heel collar, for my taste. And I think that the reason, I've said this in other videos, but I think the reason for that is because of the fit of the upper, and especially because of the tongue and the laces kind of giving lace bite, you can't really tie the shoe super tight because you're going to hurt the top of your foot, which is what's happened to me. I think that when they were testing this shoe, they found in order to keep the shoe on your foot without having any heel slip, they needed to add even more padding back here. The heel collar just sort of feels like an afterthought to me. And like the heel cup and heel assembly feels like they already settled on this upper here. And I don't know, I'm purely speculating here, but it just feels like this part was done and this part didn't work. And they're like, but it's done, we need to fix it somewhere else. And so they added padding here to fix the whole mess that's going up here. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really it about the heel. The narrow fit also has contributed to some mild chafing on the side of my big toes and some somewhat major like squeezing of my toes inward into the shoe, which happens in narrow shoes like this. But when it's a shoe geared towards longer miles, it's a little annoying. That's really it. It's, you know, I'm being very critical here because this is a $225 shoe. And I know that like the market has come to expect such high quality products over the past few years. And this is a high quality product. The reason I'm being so critical of the upper is because these things should be fixed and should be heard by Asics to be fixed for the next iteration of this, because they have something magical in the midsole here. And if they're going to continue to print this shoe, which I think they're going to, they need to sort out the fit and they need to sort out the materials used in the upper to make it just slightly more comfortable. I would take 10 additional grams on this, maybe even 20 additional grams, and I do not like a heavy shoe if it meant that those things weren't a problem. But I think that if they engineered the tongue a little bit better to be a more comfortable tongue, they could sacrifice some of the gained weight from the tongue and take it out of the heel. This heel does not need to be so padded or so firm. Like, it's a firm heel counter. That's just my design thoughts on how I would see this progress in the next iteration. So hopefully somebody at Asics hears this from me and from the others that have raised that to their attention. On to what is beautiful about this shoe, and it's the foam that's in this midsole. It is the Flight Foam Turbo Squared, and it, from the very beginning of owning it, just was a very happy experience. When you land, it is like a car engine that is firing pistons underneath your foot. Like it's like the piston compresses and explodes and compresses and explodes with each footfall. And it just makes for a really happy runner that can keep pressing and pressing the pace. Despite this not having a plate, it almost feels like it has a plate, but it doesn't feel like it has a plate in the it's too stiff way that I briefly owned the Super Blast, and I absolutely hated that shoe, the Super Blast 2, for what it's worth. And that felt almost plated in a different way, in the sense of like it was really just that rigid of a shoe and it didn't give any flexibility to your foot. And so it was kind of, for me, it was kind of jarring. This is not like that. It's like a plated shoe for the energy without the drawback of having like a rigid like stability, like foam stabilizing element in there that could cause additional, for me, plated shoes, when I land on them a little wrong, it sort of sends shock waves into my foot. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but like landing wrong on a carbon plated shoe feels like you did something wrong. Like if I land not in accordance with what my natural stride is, it feels like the plate reverberates and sends shockwaves up through my body. And not ever have I felt like this in the Megablast, but I felt like I could go super fast in it. That said, I do think there's a limit to the speed that you could take this to. And of course there is, even with any shoe. Even with like a full-bodied marathon racing shoe, you're not going to be doing sprint drills, right? Like 100s in most, carbon-plated race shoes. Maybe like a Metaspeed Edge Paris, but I don't think the new Tokyo you'd want to do full tilt sprints in. And the reason I know that the Megablast doesn't want to do that is I was getting some sub-6 pace at the end of the treadmill run today. And part of this is like, I don't feel as confident running that quickly on a treadmill. It kind of just scares the bejeebers out of me. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel stable at all underfoot at that pace. But down to even like 630s, this feels fine. Like you could run 630 pace, and for me that's fast. That's like proper fast for me. Even like maybe that's 10K pace for me right now. I'm not really sure what my paces are, but it would be around 10K pace based on what my 5K is. So yeah, the foam is energetic, and I think it can handle really fast paces, like faster than a lot of shoes. But I think it's most comfortable really kind of around your maybe half marathon pace, maybe a little bit quicker than your half marathon pace, all the way through till your marathon pace. And you could go slow in it. And I found, this is something I was talking about out on the run today, is that I found over time, since I've gotten to know this shoe and found the best ways to work with it, I have found that it's a little bit easier to run slower in it, not because the foam has lost its energy, but because I've just grown with the shoe. I know what's going on here. I've run it a lot recently. This is supposed to be the 100-mile review. Well, I ran it twice today, so it's like the 110-mile review. That's how good it was. And I also wanted just to have what it felt like underfoot very fresh in my mind coming into making this portion of the review for you. But yeah, great midsole experience. I would love to see Asics chop off their bulbous heel back here, but that might be me. I don't know if maybe some people like that. I haven't really heard that before, but the drop isn't as noticeable. Like the 8mm drop feels honestly kind of closer to a 6 to me, which is great. That's awesome for my personal preferences. I also really like how like the rocker is not super pronounced, but it's not as if there isn't a rocker either. It doesn't feel as flat as the Dynafish, but it looks flatter than the Dynafish, Denny and 1 specifically. Their like racing shoe. I don't know. Geometry to me might be somewhat of a mystery. I'm learning about how different geometries work, but I think that brands are always trying new things all the time. And I don't think that this feels like one of those shoes that rockers you the entire way like this. I think it does feel more flat and more planted in the forefoot. And yeah, I enjoy that in a lot of shoes. That's like a type of geometry that I typically enjoy more than heavily rockered shoes. But when a heavily rockered shoe does it well, like the Xiaonian, it really sings. But yeah, I like the geometry of this a lot overall. I love the foam in this. I think that this is up there with the best foams. And the outsole has been plenty grippy. It's all sorts of yellow now, and that I believe comes from the the TPU that's used in this is claimed to be aliphatic TPU. When I was doing research into foams, I learned that one of the primary properties of aliphatic TPU is that it doesn't yellow, and that's why people use it in various different production plastics before it was even used in running shoe foam. And so it's a little weird that the bottom of this is yellowing because I thought that that's what aliphatic TPU is supposed to specifically not do. Granted, the outside of it isn't necessarily yellowing, but as you can see up here, the foam is starting to, or the paint is starting to come off of the body of the foam. And yeah, just to show that there is some wear, and there is some wear on the tread, and it's not so bad yet, but it is not nothing either at 200 miles. And right, why am I being so critical? It's a shoe at 200 miles. It's that this costs $225, and seeing wear on the rubber at 200 miles is fine. It hasn't affected anything. But I do see a lot of like reviews showing like at 200 miles showing that there's not anywhere. And for me, that so far has just not been the case. And I just want to report, yeah, I guess that's the point. I want to report on the wear that I am seeing so you can set your own expectations for how many miles you will get out of this. It's going to be a very durable shoe, other than like some, I think, maybe mild reduction in fatigue resistance. Like later on in the runs, I have been experiencing around mile 8 to 9 a noticeable firming up of the underfoot feel. Like it's not quite as bouncy towards the end of 9-ish mile runs, but and the grip is still fine even with a little bit of wear on it. But this is a $225 shoe. That's it. I mean, it's just know that you're not going to get, it's not going to be like the Superblast, I don't think, where people took that to what I've seen 700 miles. I've seen a lot of 500 miles. 500-mile reviews. I think I might end up getting something close to 300 miles out of this, but it would be pretty amazing to me if it went up to 4. And I don't always maximize the amount of miles that I get out of my running shoes, because I do have the need for novelty, as you can see by the fact that I'm doing running shoe reviews. But really, like, I tend to retire them sooner rather than later. So if you're somebody that pushes miles out of your shoes and runs them to the very last drop, by all means, you know, maybe you will be able to take this 400 to 500 miles. But I don't think that this will be as durable as something like the Superblast. Otherwise, guys, this is the Megablast. You're no strangers to it. It's a phenomenal shoe. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm going to keep running in it. I love it. It's the question that we all must ask ourselves when a new product is introduced at a staggering, astounding, overwhelming, astronomical price point. Really, is it worth it? And for me, who's a deep hobbyist who really likes running shoes and has thoroughly enjoyed bringing you all these videos throughout the last few months, Yeah, for me, it is worth it. But I also didn't pay $225 for it. I got it on some like 20% to 30% discount. I had $30 off of this shoe, and it came in around 200-ish. I can't remember. It was a while ago now. But I don't think I ever would have bought this for 225. Maybe I would have because of what I am doing here and trying to. Sorry, my camera kept dying. So I finally think I have a solution to it. I changed the batteries. So yeah, as I was saying, the question we need to ask ourselves is this a good value for money? And every one of you is just gonna have to decide that for yourselves. If this is your first time watching content on the Megablast, I'm kind of astounded that this would be your first video because the shoe's been everywhere and all over everybody's everything. If you're still trying to decide on it, it is what it is. It's a fun ride. It's overpriced. It's a really, really fun ride. It might be one of the most fun shoes. It is one of the most fun shoes that I've personally run in this year. Probably top two for fun factor. This and the Xiaonan probably are top of the pile for fun. But you could get, even if you don't want to try to order running shoes from China, like if you didn't want to do that at all, that's not worth the effort to you. You could get 90% of the shoe out of the Evo SL as you could from the Megablast for $150, a full $75 cheaper. It's just a different geometry that might not work for everybody, and the sloppy upper in the Evo SL might not work for everybody, but the Neo Zen is also really fun, brand new. I mean, it's not quite as durable as this is, but that's $150. There are options for fun training shoes right now on the market. There are. This is just a lot faster than the other ones and perhaps a bit more fun. Like the Evo SL is fun in the way that running is fun. It's like a serious type of fun. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go, party or whatever. It's like, I am a very responsible, adult that does responsible adult stuff like running and being healthful. The Mega Blast is more on the like, yeah, I'm running, but I'm having a party at the same time. And that's just how, that's how I'll leave it with all of you. I've been enjoying myself. It's the Mega Blast. Come on. It's a great shoe. Just at a big price. Okay. Thank you all very much for your attention. And as always, stay in motion.